How are you? What are you doing with a mic in your hand? What are we doing? Good.
Cheryl, we're at the one-third mark of the season.
Yeah.
How about just the state of the team at this one-third mark?
Improved, I'd say, from the beginning. Banged up, unfortunately, a little bit. But I think overall, I think we're, say, in general, kind of clear what our strengths are, who our strengths are, and what we can do to help them. We've improved defensively. We're the #1 defensive rebounding team by percentage in the league. I don't know that we started there, so I think improved is probably the word I would use.
How about weaknesses?
Weaknesses, kind of strangely, we're good in transition D off of a miss, but we generally have a problem off of a make, which is just counterintuitive. I would say weaknesses for us offensively. We were just talking about this, that we're good if we can execute a play, but the more unscripted nature to the game. We lack, I think, just kind of general cohesion in what we're doing with purpose. So we call that the just playing phase or the flow phase. So we're trying to grow in that area.
I mean, is that just lack of experience? I mean, is it just...
I don't know that's that. Experience together maybe in some cases with some of the players. Having 2 hardship players, I get it with those guys. I think I always use the word intentional, just being a little more intentional and then like having leadership and communicating, through a possession on offense is just as important as communicating on defense. And so I think we lack that, sort of, okay, this is that time. We ran our set, we didn't get whatever we wanted to get, and now we've got to still get a quality shot. How do we draw 2 to get an advantage? And so I think just being intentional and, again, every team has, their list of things they'd like to get better at, right? You hope that the good stuff stays, and you try to. So every team has that list, and so, we nitpick a little bit, when we see some stuff. Is that nitpicking? No, I think we find ourselves in that situation. I think our offensive efficiency would go up if we could do that. I mean, we got to put the ball in the hole a little bit. Our shooting percentages through a third. Good news is we got 2/3 away to go for a correction. That's what we're hoping for.
Can Trailer help in some of those areas?
Yeah, I think so. She's, kind of been on the big stage before. Doesn't come in sort of intimidated. She's just, for her, look pretty confident. She's athletic, gets to places. Just kind of trying to learn what we do. But you'll see her out there for sure.
How much in the preseason game when she had hit like 3 threes and...
Yeah, I still haven't talked to her about that. I meant to tell her about that. Yeah.
I'll circle back. Speaking to that flow phase of the offense, does Diamond's talent add to that, help that?
It does. Because it's a player that can put pressure on you, right, at the rim, to collapse your defense. I think the group that struggles maybe lacks the ability to do that and find. I think some of it is it's not their #1 identity, but recognizing that attacking closeouts is good for the whole thing. And absolutely, Diamond gives us that ability. You don't have to ask her twice, to collapse the defense.
And second day, you said you got to see how she feels.
Yeah.
How does she feel?
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Good report in terms of before practice, and stuff that we're doing, just kind of getting Diamond back up to speed and some of the finer points. We've tweaked some stuff since she was out. Just all of that. So I feel good about her. I think she would tell you that, like I said yesterday, that she wants to, she's always like that. She's just so competitive when it doesn't go exactly like she wants it to. She's disappointed, but it's a hunger. It's motivated by a hunger to do well. So we'll see for tomorrow. I haven't talked to trainers about how we'll list her for tomorrow or whether she's available.
But she moved well today. I mean,
she did. She looks
your
great.
Eye test,
Absolutely.
Maybe
I have no
playing
concerns.
tomorrow?
I think trending towards that way for sure, but the final decision isn't mine. But from what I saw, I would be happy to have her out there.
Is it a little bit of a chess match when you're playing a team? I mean, you did with LA a couple weeks ago, a week and a half. But
Yeah.
Seattle here, I mean, a little bit of a chess match to see.
Yeah, not really. You pour everything into this game. You're not really thinking about, hey, you're playing them in the second game. Hold back some stuff here or there. We want to win a home game, so we'll pour everything into this game.
Jack on the Zoom.
Hi, Jack.
Hi,
Cheryl, LA was just in here talking a little bit about how things have shifted in terms of the offense being run a lot more through Jess. Obviously, when Jess was out there, now shifting towards things being run through her more. Just how have you seen that transition go, and what do you hope to continue seeing from LA?
Yeah, it's a great observation on LA's part. Jess's value was we did play a lot through her, and so LA at the head of the offense, and we tried to do it with Tiff a little bit too. We talked about the pick and roll game yesterday, and so we look different. We're doing less of throwing on an elbow and cutting. The passers, in terms of what we're doing, are different in terms of how we're getting to some of our post ups or some of our cuts. LA, I think, is she's the one that has to establish the pace. That's something we've talked about a lot, particularly on made baskets. So if we get scored on, we're last in the league. That's another thing, Doogie. We're 0.8 PPP, last in the league. And so we've talked a lot about that. LA is absolutely at the head of that.
And then for you guys, you didn't add a post, you added another guard. Just what needs do you hope specifically that Trailer is able to address for you?
Well, obviously, we're down a couple guards, so depth. Particularly at the 2-guard spot. I don't know at this point. I won't even bring up the idea. Can Kay run the 1 at all? We'll give her a little more time before I spring that possibility on her. But no, just a little more depth, a little more speed. I think those are things that when we looked for the hardship, that we want it to be different than what we have. We wanted it to be a young player that we could get a look at, and that's why Trailer's here.
Yesterday about the importance of one-on-one defense. She said that was the key area that you guys needed to improve upon defensively.
Who said this?
Fee said that yesterday. Is that something that you would agree with, and how do you think the team goes about trying to improve that?
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the season, the last thing they want me to do is do one-on-one drills. And so I don't think players are open to that at this point, but that's what we need. We need repetition, one-on-one. The intentionality of how you close out, that creates the one-on-one, whether it's going to be a quality attempt at stopping somebody. If you don't close out well, you're on their side, then it's problematic. That's a lot of our problem. Most defenders, I think every coach in the league would be standing here all agreeing that we drop our back foot. We don't want to drop back our back foot. I just think it's players having this focus and intentionality about those finer details. In some places, we're not athletic enough to make those mistakes. Our margin for error in some cases. And so I think it's pretty simple, in terms of, how you close out to a player and your timeliness, all the basic stuff, be there on the catch, all that good stuff it's on their minds. And they have to get there, just through the little bit of practice time that we have without drill work.
Last one for me. I know you haven't talked to Chuck yet, but if Diamond is able to play tomorrow, do you anticipate there being some type of minutes restriction on her?
Some type of what? Restriction on her? I don't know. If that's said, then obviously we'll. But we haven't gotten that far.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Just one other
Yeah.
This may be a stretch. I don't know. Have you talked to her about in this time off for her as a rookie?
Yeah.
What kind of perspective that may have given her, being able to watch the games from the sidelines?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what she got out of it. We haven't had that conversation, but I know when it happened, and we talked about the real value in being able to watch, right? So it's a silver lining that as a rookie now to take in the games. I mentioned this yesterday. Diamond was highly engaged. She didn't. Sometimes when you're injured, you kind of float to the background. She was in everything, in every possession, in every timeout. So I would imagine that she saw a lot, learned a lot. The things that I heard her say mostly was things that she does well, which is like playing faster in transition, attacking the basket. We lack a little bit of that. So she was trying to get some of the players to see that, but I would think it would be valuable. I haven't gone through a list of what she's learned. So if you get that, I don't mind hearing that. What did she learn?
Any further questions?
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Yeah.
44.